Erica Brecher joins us live.
Team coverage continues this morning with Erica Brecher.
In our top story tonight, WETM 18 News reporter Erica Brecher.
The fact that skeletal remains were found, they can cause even more damage. All weekend long, I'm your girl at the Glen. Reporting in Elmira. Reporting live in Elmira, Erica Brecher, WETM 18 News. This is the fear now, these big, solid sheets of ice that are so thick. Now that the thaw is moving them, they can cause even more damage. Even though some areas of the southern tier have lost jobs in the past year, perhaps today's very crowded job fair is at least a hopeful indication that many companies are hiring and expecting to make hires today. Now that second $1 million grant is going into the physical changes here at CCC's Elmira campus. Crews will renovate this academic and workforce center and build the welding lab here. In Chemung County, the race for county court judge, and in Elmira, where I am, the race for city court judge. Catching this happen or any stargazing event depends on having a clear sky. There's a lot of seating options, and it depends on a lot of things. It depends on where you want to sit, how much you want to spend, and who you want to end up sitting next to. But Pennsylvania drivers aren't having it. And they've invited them into their homes for shelter if they need somewhere to sleep, including their dog Luca. So she's been volunteering for several years, and just so you know, the Arctic League has been around for 100 years. So this is a long-standing tradition with a lot of volunteers. For now, reporting in Watkins Glen International, Erica Brecher, WETM 18 News.
We heard this noise, and my husband says, "What is that?" And I says, "I think it's the wind." So I went over to open the door, and I said, "Oh, it is the wind." It sounds just like a freight train coming right through the house.
Sharon and Ron Baker have lived here for more than 40 years, but Ron says he's never seen anything like this. When the EF1 tornado hit their property Saturday night, they lost 8 trees, one right on their house, which destroyed their back porch and caused cracks in their ceiling.
We tried to go to bed, and neither one of us really slept. And it's just, but you're alive, you know, so it's the main thing. You're still alive. And
behind their property, a path of flattened crops are more than enough evidence for National Weather Service meteorologist Dave Nicosia.
As all the signatures, you can see the way the winds were swirling into the tornado. I have winds in some places up to 100 miles an hour, which ranks at an EF1 category, so a pretty significant tornado.
When we checked in with them, the Bakers were going on more than 16 hours without power. NYSEG shut the electricity off because of wires caught in the tree that fell on their house. But the Bakers might be most upset by the loss of one tree in particular. The Bakers estimate that this huge oak that fell down, probably the biggest that came down on their property, was about 200 years old.
my kids grew up with a tire swing on this oak tree, and this oak tree is probably 225 years old. You know, it's just immense and it's gorgeous, and it's gone.
Reporting in Woodhull, Erica Brecher, WETM 18 News.
Father, we thank you so much today for the privilege of
March 31st, 2004, Bradford County deputies Michael Van Kuren and Christopher Burgert went to serve a warrant where Dustin Briggs lived. On his father's property, Briggs shot and killed both men.
I mean, obviously you think about this every day, but I think about how 10 years ago literally was the worst day of my life, like the worst day ever. And then right now, you see how much love there is here.
you would guide and lead.
A decade later, a service at the memorial erected in their honor marks the date and remembers their sacrifice.
I miss him every single day, and today is no exception.
Burgert's son Christian was just 2 years old then. Today, he's 12.
Just wish I knew him.
Briggs, now 42 years old, is serving a lifelong prison sentence. He was originally sentenced to death in 2006, but the execution never happened. While the memorial service took place in Towanda, nearly an hour away here in Wells Township is where the shooting actually took place. It's 2 rural roads off of Route 14 near New York, but still in Bradford County. And that's why 10 years ago today it took authorities a good amount of time to get to this property where the 2 deputies had been shot and killed. Speakers and attendants at the memorial remember Van Kuren and Burgert's commitment to their work.
They were worthy of this honor. They're fine guys who really believed in what they're doing. They didn't have a job, they had a mission.
It's a horrible day, but we remember Chris and Mike for what they believed in and what they did.
10 years later, the family, friends, and colleagues whose lives forever changed that day say they're most grateful for the unwavering support from the community. Musician Ellis Callahan hails from the Northern Tier. From his garage-turned-music studio in Tioga, Callahan is working on his dream.
I'd love to be a songwriter professionally. That would be, like, I have a song that's perfect for Adele. I just need to find her.
His passion turned into a career after the first time he got paid to perform.
Well, I was in bands in high school, and my brother, Joe, introduced me to a lot of great music, and I started playing with him. We started playing in bar bands when I was like 17.
The Brothers Callahan is the duo he and his brother perform as, but Ellis goes solo too and performs with his second rock duo, Crooked Sun. These groups can often be found in Wellsboro at 83 Main, Penn Wells, Timeless Destination, or in Mansfield at Gregory's.
The more I throw at the dartboard, the more likely I am to hit a bullseye.
Back in the studio, Callahan records demos to send to publishers. He's released 3 albums. His preferred style?
Anything sort of roots rock and Americana, simple, honest, kind of not too raw, but like anything that involves blues, country, folk, soul, Motown.
And it turns out he and I know a lot of the same music, so I got my interview with him, and I got a little lesson on guitar as well. Callahan isn't sure he has a favorite song he's written, but
there's one that's everyone else's favorite. It's Why the Caged Bird Sings. It's on my acoustic album, Steady on the Streetlights. It took me like 9 months to write that song, and now usually I won't take more than a couple hours, but that one was a fist fight.
Until he makes it big, Callahan will keep writing and serenading the Northern Tier.
Hallelujah.
Oil painter Mark Rubin has his studio right here in Elmira.
Still life is passionate because I can set it up, I can visit it, because I paint Saturdays and Sundays. I'm a designer Monday through Friday. So having a still life set up, something that's not going to rot, which I fight all the time, rotting vegetables, rotting flowers, and it's always this challenge.
But his work is all over the country. You can find Rubin's paintings in art galleries from Philadelphia to Maryland. And of course, he's acclaimed right here in the Southern Tier and comes highly recommended by the Arts Council of the Southern Finger Lakes.
I like to find old things that people walk by every single day and don't pay attention to. I'll see that and get inspired by that and try to bring that back and recreate that inspiration.
He paints in this upstairs room of his home where big windows allow his still life setups to capture natural light exactly how he sees it, and he enjoys listening to soft classical music while he works. Rubin, like Callahan, has trouble choosing a favorite piece.
They're all my children. And the hardest part in the beginning was, like, they say, send some work to a gallery. I'd say, I don't want that piece to go, I like it. And this friend of mine who's a director at a museum out west, she said, you gotta send your best work. Whether you love them or not, you have to let them go.
Recently, he's been painting taxidermied animals, a new type of still life he started about a year ago. But Rubin likes to thoughtfully consider any object or setup he comes across that strikes him. A fun fact about how he goes about getting creative ideas?
That I'm always looking, that I'm always observing. I'm always looking for something to paint, or something that could be a painting. I'm always just very aware. Sometimes I'm so quiet people don't even know I exist.
WETM 18 News at 11. WETM 18 News at 11. WETM 18 News at 11 starts right now.
Coverage you can count on continues with Erica Brecher.
One person is injured in a shooting that happened just this afternoon in the city of Elmira. Good evening, I'm Erica Brecher. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with this breaking news. Let's narrow that down, and what can you tell us about downtown Elmira for the start of the race tomorrow morning? Flurries earlier this afternoon quickly turned into snow that's left a slick coating across the Twin Tiers. Exhausted Penn Staters couldn't be happier with the outcome of the past 46 hours. The weekend-long dance marathon was the culmination of their year-long efforts to raise money for pediatric cancer. Now, I have one friend, at least in the Northern Tier, who's asking you specifically for a warmer. Weather forecast, is it going to warm up?
Well, I'm going to grant her a wish, but not for a couple of days.
But warmer for Valentine's Day.
Yes, after a cold spurt in the middle of the week.
Yes. Thank you, Sean, and thanks for joining us tonight at 6. Thanks for joining us on WETM 18 News at 11, and have a great night.